chose it. I think it's something that's needed, but for sure it's always needed, I feel. We always kind of need something like this. Before we get started, I always like to say something to people. I actually do this on purpose. Well, because I like it. I want to pump people up, right? So I'm like, oh, that's awesome. That's amazing. I always kind of use those words, okay? So is there anything that you guys use, like that you say all the time, that you kind of like your go-to phrase that you kind of pump people up? Oh, that's great. Anybody have something like that? Oh, you got this. No, something that you say that you goat. All right, there you go. You're a goat. I like that one. That one's good. Uh, what is it? The kids, you're a Rizzler now. That Rizzler is like bridging generations. A what? Oh, aura. Your aura. Your 1,000% aura. All right, now we're going to Gen Alpha here. Anybody have any other stuff? No. But keep it in mind, okay? Just kind of use these little things to kind of pump people up. All right. So just kind of in a mental health way. We have a verse, okay? If you want to write this down, I'm not sure if it's in the handout. I can't remember if I put it in there. In Proverbs 12:25, it says, anxiety weighs down the heart, but a kind word cheers it up. Anxiety weighs down the heart, but a kind word cheers it up. If you're going around your life, and we're going to be talking about ourselves, but obviously other people, and specifically students and younger people, but if you're going around your life and one day you have a bad day, it's normal, and somebody comes to you and gives you more problems, now you feel like even worse. But let's say you're having a bad day and somebody says something good to you, like a kind word, that actually almost erases everything else that's happening. It almost kind of like washes it away. And that's what this verse is saying. Mental health, and the reason I brought it up, and everybody's like in accord to this, is that mental health is an issue. It's an issue. And so here's some stats. 1 in 5 Americans will experience mental illness in a given year. 1 in 5. That's a big, huge number. That's 20%. That's huge. In children, 1 in 5 children either currently or at some point during their life have had a seriously debilitating mental illness. In children, that's huge. In America, now talking about like very serious mental illnesses like schizophrenia, bipolar, or just like a major depression, 1 in 5 as well, like a major, something that's really, really big. So this is affecting everybody, like it's huge. And if you think about it, just 1 out of 5, if there's a family, if the family has 4 or 5 people, that means somebody in there has, by percentage wise, it's gonna be affected. Somebody's affected by this, so it affects everybody. And then you think about your larger family, right? Then you think about your church. It's an issue, okay? And obviously we're gonna talk about God in a minute, but mental health is for us all. We have to start with ourselves. I'm gonna start with myself first, because if I don't have anything to give, then what am I giving, kind of thing, right? So I kind of have to start first with myself before I can help somebody else out. So here's some common challenges that adults have. Okay, we'll talk about adults first, and then kind of go into the other younger people. Okay, overload, just overload. You take on a lot of hats. Everybody here does a lot of things in school, in church, in your lives. We're running around, and you're wearing a lot of hats, and that's just overload. And that itself, it's not bad that you're doing things, but it could be overload. It's like an overload, okay? And I'm preaching this to myself, like it's crazy, all the stuff that you have to do. Like your mind is like, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that. This long list of to-do lists. Technology fatigue, big huge thing. Again, you can remember back when we didn't have too much technology to now. Time is so fast. It's so like in your face every single moment. Just news is in your face all the time. Financial pressure for adults is a huge thing. Thank God kids don't have to think about that, but adults do. Financial pressure. Comparison is a big one. Comparison, huge. We could do a whole teaching just on that. Just to give you, and I know you know this, kind of, but it's good to like hear again. When people post on social media, people usually post a highlight. It's a highlight. Like think of like what you post. You post the best thing. You don't post the worst thing. You post the best thing. So you have to also think about the other people. It's like they're also posting the best thing, which is awesome. Great. I love it. Good. But the bad part, it comes into in comparison, in comparing, and saying, oh, look what they posted. How am I compared to that? And it's hard to say don't do that, but we do it, and so we have to be cognizant of how we're doing, and not just social media, just in everything. Comparison is a big mental strain on people. And of course, we know spiritual dryness is another one. God can fix everything, but we have to get closer to God. We have to be proactive, right? If we're not asking for God's help, God is not going to come and help us. He's not going to step in if you don't come to God, and that's a big thing. Even if we're in church, and I know all of us we're heavily in church, but you could be going to church and still like have spiritual dryness. It happens. I love the fasting and fasting because I'll be honest, like every time we're going into it, like the Friday, Saturday, I'm dreading it. I'm like, And then by the last day, I'm like, that was amazing. That was awesome. I was like, whoa, you know what? We should do that more often. And then we don't. And then we don't. But when you do it, Monday I was hurting like physically. I was like, I had a headache. I was in a bad mood because of food. But by Tuesday, I was like, whoa, I'm pumped up. Let's go. Let's pray. I can't, it was like, it was really good. Like God, like literally, I feel like God feeds you. But again, we have to do that. We have to be proactive in doing that all the time. So here's a question, okay? Just kind of start things off, okay? How do you handle pressure or stress or anxiety? Like, what do you do to relieve the stress? Is what I'm asking, okay? Kind of share. I'll share mine. I love to work out. I know I don't look like it. I know, because I also love to eat. But I actually love to work out, and I feel like when I go to the gym or I go walking, I come back, I'm like, let's go. I'm pumped up. Like let's do this again. So that's a big thing. I also take a quick nap in the afternoon. I have to take a nap. I have to take a quick nap, like 20 minutes, and I'm up and going. And I'm like, I'm good to go again, like to round 13. Let's go. So that's the two things that I do that I feel like it really helps me. Anybody else have something that they can share?
That afternoon nap, I need that nap too. And then I'm a cycler, so I started during COVID, but I cycle.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. The physical really helps the body. Yeah.
I like to go into my room, like dark. I may fall asleep, or I just like to have silence for a little while,
Mm-hmm.
just around 30 minutes. And I like to walk around like Marshalls or like Home Goods and just browse and just take my mind off things.
Cool. Cool. And that's why everybody's different. Like everybody has their own little thing that they can do. Anybody else? One more person?
Like, it's not the healthiest, but like as soon as I get home, I'll like doom scroll for an hour
Yeah.
and just like
Yeah.
let my mind be. Or I love baking. I like to like bake and like just focus on something else.
Yeah. Being a teacher is we don't have to tell each other here. Like you need when you get home, you need to do something. If you don't, you need to do something. You have to. Yes.
When my husband gets home, I will go out, get something sweet, and sit in my car in silence and enjoy. Yes, and just enjoy my cookie or my Starbucks, and then take a deep sigh of breath and go back upstairs.
And that's. I mean, you have to be mindful of what you're doing. Not everything is healthy, but what I'm saying is it's healthy to have something because how are we going to deal with all the other things? We have to have something. Okay, keep it in mind. Mental health is about balance. The biggest thing I pray for, I'm be honest, is peace. I pray for peace for myself and for everything. I pray for peace because usually God is not going to take away the issue. If anything, He's going to add more issues because He could take it, kind of thing. So I ask God for peace. If you remember the time with Jesus and Peter, He could have said Jesus could have said, "Storm, stop," and then save Peter. But He saved Peter first. He gave a whole chat, blah, blah. They got back into the boat, and then He said peace, like after all of that. So, like, He's not going to take the storm away, is what I'm trying to say. You're going to be going through the storm. So, people pray for some people. I used to pray for patience. Don't pray for patience. No, I don't pray for that anymore. Sorry. God, I do not pray for that. I used to pray for that. I do not pray for that. Yeah, he's gonna give you issues. Oh, you want to learn how to patience? Then now, so I don't pray for that, but I pray for peace. God, give me just peace. Resilience means that you just keep going. You're able to get up. You fall, like the Bible says. You fall, but you get up again. That's resilience. And resolutions. Just what are the resolutions? What are the outcomes here? Okay. and not avoiding the problems. You can run away from the problems for a little bit, but they always catch up to you. Always, whatever the issue is. It could be financial, it could be a mental health, it could be a physical health, but you can't run away forever. So guess what? You have to face it eventually at one point. Healthy leaders, and we are the leaders, we build healthy kids. So if you're healthy, the kids are going to be healthy. The people around you are going to be healthy. So nobody's going to be 100% healthy, by the way. Nobody. But we're trying to get there, and we can help somebody else who has that. And like we said in the other class, model what you want. People follow by model. So if you model it, people will follow the good models. Okay. I have 2 stories for you. I always have like little Bible stories. Okay. This is the story of Elijah. And as you know, Elijah was against all of the prophets of Baal, and he had a lot of courage. He had to stand up to them. And he was like, listen, we'll build the 2 altars. You pray to your God, I'll pray to my God. And you know the story. The other people prayed for their God, and he mocked them. He was like having fun and all that. And he's like, okay, my turn. He pours water in the altar, like extra water, to make sure that what happened back then is that people used to like do like a fire underneath. So he poured water on purpose to see like it's water. There's no fire. And then he prayed and God answered. Boom. Fire comes down from heaven. And everybody's like, whoa, that's amazing. It's so amazing that they even killed all the prophets of Baal. They got killed because of Elijah. So one person against 300, and he won. He won out. Like that's a moment. That's a huge, huge moment. Everybody's like, wow, don't mess with Elijah. Like, God is going to bring fire from heaven. Like, imagine if any one of us could be like, bring fire from heaven. I think that would be awesome, right? A huge thing. He had that. But yet, right after that, Jezebel, it says, who's Elijah? I'm going to kill that guy. And she sends out to kill them. And Elijah, instead of stepping up to her, he goes and he hides. He runs away. He hides. And he goes into the mountains. And he's in the mountains. And he has this whole conversation with God. He's like, God, where are you? How come you can't respond to me? How come you're not here? He has this whole thing. He's like, I'm looking for God in the rocks. He's not there. I'm looking for him in the trees. He's not there. I'm looking for him in the wind. He's not there. And then finally it says that God was in the small, still voice. And God starts to talk to him back. And God is like, I'm with you. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm with you. Like, you just did great things. There's other people who are with you. And he says, you know what, Elijah, stay here, rest. And he sends him food. God sends him food. So if you read that, and if you read deeper, Elijah was actually depressed, is what happened. He had a mental health issues. I'm not sure how severe, but that's what he had. He was like distraught. What did God say to do? He said, don't worry, there's other people who are still with you. That's number 1. Number 2 is rest. Resting is important. And then also eating correctly, eating healthy is important. So God actually modeled some of the things that we're going to talk about and say, this is how we deal with mental health or just being well, okay? I wanted to share something else. This was not in these notes, but Pastor said something awesome the other day, and I was like, and I looked it up, and it's true, okay? But if you want, you could fact check me, and then you're going to want to write it down. Pastor said that we have more churches than McDonald's. And he said it really fast. He said it on Tuesday. Did you hear that? I was like, I got to look up if it's true. I looked at Coca-Cola. He said something about Coca-Cola. I didn't hear what he said about Coca-Cola, but I'll tell you what I looked up, okay? Oh, we're in more countries than Coca-Cola. Oh, okay, he said that. But I'll give you another stat. I didn't know what he said about that, but I looked up another stat, okay? McDonald's, if you look it up, you can fact check me. McDonald's has 43,000 McDonald's franchises. 43,000, you can fact check me. It's like 43,300 or something like that. Not even 44,000. The UPCI, we have 45,000 churches worldwide. 45,000 churches worldwide. Just UPC churches, by the way. We're not even talking about other organizations. So what I'm saying, I'm holding this like a couple since Tuesday. I'm like, I got to share this somewhere. I'm like, that means that every time you see McDonald's, you're actually seeing a church. And you know how many McDonald's there are? That's a lot of McDonald's. Like, I see them everywhere. Like, you see them almost in every single like 5-10 blocks. You see one, right? So just as many McDonald's there are actually more UPCI churches, and not counting the other organizations that still believe like we believe in things that have a lot of things similar. So I say this because it goes with this. I was trying to make it fit somehow. I was trying to make it fit because I wanted to share it. I wanted to share it. We're not alone, is what I'm saying. Like sometimes you feel alone, like when you're by yourself, you're like, oh, why is this happening to me? What's going on? But if it's happening to you, actually, it's probably happening to other people. 45,000 churches, that's a lot of churches. The Coca-Cola thing, I forgot what he said. I didn't hear the countries. But what I looked up is how many employees Coca-Cola has. Coca-Cola has 700,000 employees worldwide. 700,000 worldwide. Talking about partners, distributors, everybody, 700,000. And UPCI, we have over 5 million members in the UPCI of people who are just like us, 5 million people. So if you think like we're workers of God's kingdom, we're beating them by a lot, you know? So we're like bigger than Coca-Cola and we're bigger than McDonald's. So going back to like Elijah, we're not by ourselves. We're not. It seems like things are happening just to me or just to you, but we're not by ourselves. And that's kind of what God was trying to tell Elijah. Don't worry, I'm with you. People are with you. Rest, eat. Get up and go do the work. Go back. You got to go back and face Jezebel. He had to, okay? I'll give you another story. This is King David, and he's being anointed. When he was anointed, he was around, the oldest is 13 years old. He was probably like younger than that when he was anointed. When he fought Goliath, he was around 15, 16 years old when he fought Goliath. So think about like the weight of that, of being anointed, not being liked by your family, because if you know the story, remember that they didn't even call him. Like think about what he's thinking about. Like he's out in with the sheep, and everybody's having a party without him, like a gathering without him. Like he's out in the field. Like think of all the mental issues that he was carrying. He was. The difference, or the thing that made him a little bit above, and God said it, he had a heart of God. God said, he has my heart. And he was able to overcome that. It didn't mean that he didn't have issues. He had issues, he was just able to overcome it. And that's the whole part about the mental health. And look, he was young. It doesn't mean age, it doesn't mean anything. It just means that you will have issues, we will have issues. We just have to know how to overcome it. And that's the biggest part, okay, of the whole session today. Quickly, a little bit more about kids specifically. This is kids. From 2016 to 2023, kids were diagnosed 61%, so an increase in diagnosis with mental health issues, 61% jump increase from 2016 to 2023. Could that have COVID years? Maybe. Could have been things from before? Maybe. But it's just the statistics is that we have. The second one, only about 58% say that they always or usually get some kind of social emotional support at home when they need it, or just in general. So that means that there's about 40% that never get any kind of emotional support, emotional or mental support that they need. And suicide is one of the top causes of deaths among 15 to 29-year-olds. That's one of the top most deaths. Accidents would be the other one, but it's crazy. I have this picture here. I don't know if you could see it really well, but you have different scenarios, and this is from a public school, and I know there's one that's like kind of, but I'll talk about that because and I know we don't deal with that, with LGBTQ here so much, but do we? Are there kids in our classes that are like that? It's a question mark, I can tell you what the Bible says, obviously, and I don't have to tell you, right? A man has to be a man, and a woman has to be a woman. And God made a man and woman, right? For sure. But these kids are dealing with that even more now. They're dealing with that. I could tell you the Bible, but the fact is that it's happening into our society. It's bleeding into our churches. It's bleeding into our classes. So are we dealing that within our class? And I'm going to tell you, probably yes. Probably yes, that it's here. We could say, oh, no, it's not. It's here. So how do we deal with that, right? So there's a student who could be sitting there, like, feeling rejected because that's what we say, which I'm not, this is what I just said is true. But how are we approaching that? How are we talking about it? Are we helping them? Or are we hurting them, right? Undiagnosed ADHD, parents are in jail. Lives with grandparents. We have a lot of students like that, right? Mom is alcoholic. I've actually, and this is great also, we have a lot more now who are not really fully in church. Like they say they're Christian, but they're not fully in church. And I've even, for example, I just gave a class on the lungs. and I was talking about smoking, how smoking is so bad for you. Um, and they were like, oh no, like some kids were asking more questions. And I said, you have to be very careful because secondhand smoking is even worse. And like their face dropped, their face like dropped. And I was like, I don't know if I should have said it, but I'm like, that's what we're here for. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna lie, I can't lie, so I have to give you the truth here. So their face just dropped, and you could tell like they probably have somebody who smokes at home. I'm sure that that's what the issue was. So I don't know, alcoholic, works to help to support the family. Maybe we don't have that, but maybe we do. I don't know. Cares for the sick parents. I'm sure they have that. Domestic violence happens even in our school. And is being bullied. I know sometimes kids over exaggerate. Sometimes they say, oh, somebody just says something funny and they're bullying me. Like everything now is bullying. But then there is true bullying. So we just have to decipher that, okay? Undocumented family. I don't know. I mean, are we dealing with that in our society? I think so. I think that we are. We're just like nobody really says anything, but I think that we are. So these are the type of kids that kind of come to our classes, and we are dealing with it and more, and every single of these and more probably. Okay, these are the different groups that we can reach and that we're probably in contact with, and we kind of should approach them in a different manner. Under 5 is a totally different than a like 10-year-old, totally different. I'll give you a big one that I see, and I try not to watch the news. I try not to watch it. Like I watch it like maybe once a month. I'll put like the actual news because it's always bad news. But then when I put it on, it's like I'm like depressed after. Like I'm like after like 10 minutes, I'm like, man, my head is spinning. I can't take this anymore, right? And then I always start thinking about like my girls are there. They're also watching this, because we're watching. And I'm like, if I feel like this, they're like, what are they feeling, right? They're hearing all this bombardment of stuff, right? And my girls are a little bit older. But what about like the 6-year-old, the 5-year-old? Like all this is like they're internalizing all this bad stuff. Like this person got killed. This person got mugged. This person got mugged is not even on it anymore because that's like nothing now. But just like so much bad things. So what are we kind of putting in front of our kids is a big one. Teens in that aspect. So the 6 to 12, they're probably going to start hearing it from like if it's bad news, they're going to start hearing it from other people. And teens, they're going to for sure hear it in social media. They'll probably hear it before you did, the teens. So you see how it's a different approach for every single one. Then we have the young adults, which honestly, young adults and just adults, it's the same thing. It just young adults just need a little bit more help and experience because older adults have more experience. They just need a little bit quick word here and there, and they're the same thing as adults. Okay, and then the last one is the elderly. The elderly, and I've been closer to a lot of elderly because of church. And the elderly become babies again. They become babies. And it's almost like, especially like our age, I guess, we start becoming like parents to both. We become parents to the elderly and parents to the young. Like we're the sandwich generation kind of thing because they act and think different ways. We're all going in that direction, but we just have to help them out. And it's a different mindset, Something like, for example, if I was to tell somebody here, oh, you can't drive because or whatever. You're like, okay, whatever, But if you tell an elderly person that they can't drive, it's like the end of the world for them. It literally is. And some people even like die once their license taken away. Like if they literally like pass, the couple months after they just pass away because it's like the liberty. They feel like it's so heavy that it's taken away. So we just have to keep that in mind. There's different sections here that we have to kind of look at the mental health for each one. Okay. All right, understanding mental health just a little bit. Could it be emotional? Like they're having emotional responses to things? For sure. And to some degree, that's normal. Even Jesus had emotions. Jesus got mad. Jesus was happy. Jesus was loved. Jesus, even the Bible says that God hates, by the way. I don't know if you know that, right? He says that he hates. 6, 7, actually. It says 6 he hates and 7 he detests. 6, 7. It is. He does. Yeah. So God has those emotions. Is that normal? Yes. You can't let that emotions overtake you. Is what you can't let happen. Maybe it's social issues. Maybe it's just like friends things. If you have young teens, young girls especially, like what that is. They like the teen girl drama is real. The boy drama, they fight a couple minutes and then they punch each other and they're happy again. You know, that's the extent of it. It's just very visual though. The boy drama is very visual, and the girl drama is not visual, but it's there. It's there. It could be a spiritual thing, and I think the world is suffering from this a lot. A lot of the issues would be solved if they just came to God more, right? It would just be solved. And another one that could be it could be, and there's nothing wrong. All of us are different. Could it be a chemical imbalance? Yes, it can be. Is everything a chemical imbalance? No. Is everything a emotional imbalance? No. You know, it could be any of these or a combination of any of these. So we just have to know, and we have to be prepared, and kind of we're like the front line people of like, oh, what is this? What are we dealing with here? Okay. Hmm. Wow.
They didn't ask because they didn't know. They actually asked to have a clear explanation. And basically what we have here, I told them it could be emotional. Probably the only thing I didn't mention was social.
Mhm.
But it could be an emotional thing. You get sad, you know, you have to deal with certain things temporarily. It could be a chemical thing. Or if not, you know, Satan is around the corner.
Correct. Spiritual.
How does he do that? Well, there are certain things that he'll do. So, and one of the other students that did not understand, he was like, before I explained, no, it's not a doctor thing, you know, kind of, but
Mhm.
it helped them to think.
Yeah, it's helping them think. And I don't think we're going to solve every issue for everybody, but we could be the little step that gets them a little bit more clarity. We could do that. And for us as well, you know, just seeing this, just talking about it, we're like, wow, you know what? Just a reminder of these things. I'm sure we've all talked about this stuff once in your lifetime, but just to kind of put it into like a little context, or like kind of like a little package, is like more eye-opening, I feel. That's what I see it, how I see it. Just a little bit more, right? So there's school pressures, right? Kids have school pressures that they put on themselves both ways. If they're every single way, if they're a great student, they need to have A's all the time, and they put that pressure on themselves. If they're a low student, why am I so low? Why am I behind? If they're a middle student, how come I'm in the middle? How come I don't have A's? Right? So it's like it's like every single, you know, every single one is a peer pressure. There's family stress, as before, like that picture that we could, you know, I showed you before. Social media, like I said in the other time, comparison is a huge thing that kids are that it's happening, and of course peer influence, that's happening as well. Anxiety and stress are just showing up earlier and earlier in life. I don't know if kids are just more awake, but it seems like they're more awake than when I was a kid. And when I was a kid, we did very little. Like, I don't know, I just did so much less than what kids do now. They do so much more. They're so much more involved. So it's just showing up in more in life. Mental health challenges are not a lack of faith. This is important. This is huge. They're just part of our fallen man and society. So, because I could feel maybe somebody could ask, I have mental health issues. What did I do wrong? Why is this happening to me? It's not particularly that. Maybe it is caused by that person. Maybe it is. That does happen. But maybe it's just not maybe our fallen society. That's what God did not create it like that. God created the Garden of Eden perfect. He created Adam and Eve perfect. Our fallen society, fallen man and woman, we all make these issues for us and for other people. I'm going to say this is a little hard to hear, right? I think all of us could be in 3 different parts at the same time, even, okay? You could be the person that lifts the mental health of another person, and that's hopefully what we're trying to do. But you could also be the person that brings down the mental health of another person. And you could be that person in the middle who's getting affected by each way. And I think even right now, as I stand here, I'm probably lifting somebody up. I'm probably bringing somebody down. And I'm being affected by somebody. You see what I'm saying? In a mental health way. So all of us are in that position, like in the same time right now that we talk right now. You're in that same position. You're stressing somebody out, you're helping somebody, and you're being influenced either way by somebody. So we kind of affect that way, right? So it's not just you, it's your fault, but that's what's happening, okay? All right, some early signs to watch. Changes in behavior, like extremes. Like if, they were very quiet, now they're very outgoing, or they were outgoing, now they're very quiet. Withdrawal, angry, unusual quietness. There's very changes in behavior. And kids are growing, so their personality is changing. But you could see that like there's like very, very big swings. Sleep issues or nightmares. Kids are affected by nightmares a lot. I think it's because two things. I think it's because number one, they have less noise than adults. Like we have a lot of noise in our head. Like when you go to sleep, you're thinking about 1,000 things still, right? And you have all this stuff. Well, kids don't have that noise, so they're just like more calm, and they're just more perceptive to the spiritual world. They're just more perceptive. And then the other side is God and the devil know that, and God also tries to come in and reach a kid, and the devil also tries to come in and reach a kid as well at the same time. So it's both. Kids are more open just because they have less noise, and the spiritual world knows that and is trying to affect them. Either way. That's why it's so important that we have a godly home, I think, is because if we have a godly home, we're almost like the protector of our house, right? This is our house, right? Like demons are not welcome here. We're keeping bad things out. This is God's house. And we're protecting our kids in that way. But if you go to a house that's not doing that, that they're doing crazy stuff, demons are running around and doing crazy stuff, well, guess what? The kid is going to have nightmares because they're there and they're just attuned to it. Okay, so that's a big thing. Drop in school performance or focus. Since we're in school, we could see those big changes that are happening. Like all of a sudden they were one way and they just dropped or very unfocused. Now some kids are unfocused all the time, but again, it's like a difference. What's happening? Is there a change? This is a big one. Physical complaints that are ongoing. If a kid says, oh, my stomach hurts one day, that's one thing. I heard there was a stomach virus the other day going around downstairs. So yeah, that happens. Of course, we're in a school. There's germs. But if the kid is like over and over having stomach issues, is it a physical thing or is it an emotional thing? Is it a mental health thing? What is it? Headaches and again, with just no medical reason that you're just having these, okay? Excessive worry, trying to be perfect, fear of failure, fear of being wrong. That's a big one. Even kids especially kids who are abused, they want to please everybody. They want to be pleasing because they're like, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? And they're very like that. So just have to keep your eye open with that. Spiritual indicators, maybe before they like to pray, they were okay with it, or they like the word of God, and now it's like, don't talk to me, I don't really want to pray. So those kind of changes. All right, we have just a little bit more. I know it's like kind of like a downer here, but we'll pick it up a little bit. How to respond. First, listen to them. Don't try to speak, just listen, okay? Listen. Validate their feelings. Don't say, oh, you shouldn't feel like that. That's the worst thing to say. You shouldn't feel like that. You don't tell anybody that. Like, you can't tell a person how they feel or not feel, Just hear them out. Say, wow, I understand. I understand that what you're going through, that sounds tough, and I'm here for you. Okay? Instead of, don't feel like that. How can you tell somebody that? Don't feel like that. Don't brush it off. Create a safe and calm environment at home, in church, and in school. That's a big one, I think, for us in a school setting. Be open enough that kids are able to come to you and confide in you. I think that's huge. And I think that's why teachers are teachers, because they like that, I love when kids actually come to teachers and talk to teachers. This is a personal thing, and this is not just a school thing, but it's like a personal thing, like a church. This is like how I see church. I guide my daughters, and of course I'm going to be the first one to like help them and guide them. But I know there's some things that I've never experienced just because I've never experienced them. But we have a big church, and I hope that there's somebody in our church that when they need help in something that I can't help them with, that somebody in the church can help them with. And then they could go to them and be like, oh, wow, you know what? I can't, I've never done it, but what about this person? This person could help you out. And vice versa. Then I could help the other person's kids. And in that way, right, it kind of enter and become a stronger community. I strongly believe that. I think that's what God was planning from the beginning. So that if we create that, that's for sure that we need to do that. Encourage seeking help when needed. If there's higher help that we need, a pastor, a counselor, or even a doctor, for sure. Mandated reporting. Teachers are mandated reporters. If you see something that's extreme, that's like their abuse or anything, you have to report it. You must report it. If not, you will get in trouble. You will go to jail. Like you have to report. It's mandated reporting, okay? But I would always say, if there's a situation, I would always say bring it to a second person first. Whoever you're close to, just bring it to a second person. But right away, not like in 2 days, like right away, bring it to this tonight. This just happened like 10 minutes ago. What do you think about this? Because now 2 people, yeah, let's go forward to the next one, take it to the office, but we have to be mandated reporters, okay? All right, here's the big slide, okay? All of this is importance of how we're gonna be able to build better emotional resilience. Teach about God, that you are chosen and that you're valued. I know that seems simple, but we could teach them all the stories of the Bible, but if they don't believe that they are loved, that they're chosen, it's like we're kind of just talking in the air here, okay? They have to believe it, that they have to believe it. You have to believe it, that you are loved, that you're chosen. Regardless of all the other stuff, regardless of all the mental issues that you have, regardless of all the problems that you have, you're loved and you're chosen. That's the big thing that we have to teach. And we have to like hammer it every single day, every single time. As we said before, model how we would handle stress. The next one, this is a daily practices that we could do. It's almost like anticipation, because are you gonna have mental issues? Yes, all of us do, right? So how do we even prepare for it before? Prayer and scripture, of course. We know that. Praying, reading the Bible is gonna help us. Gratitude list is a big one. In the Bible, it says to make a list and read it of all the good things that God has done for you, because we forget. You forget. So you should make a list. I do this. I personally do this. When I'm feeling a lot down, I'm like, this is bad, this is wrong. I'm like, wait. Let me make a list first of all the good things that have happened in the last week. And by the time I'm done, I'm like, you know what? It's not that bad. Like in context, like all this, all this good stuff is happening at the same time as well. I always see when it was COVID also, like people were like, it was bad. People were complaining, like, when we were locked up and all that. And it was bad. It was pretty bad. But at the same time, if you think about it, like you got to stay home, you got to cook more, you got to be with your family more, you got to binge watch Netflix all you wanted. Like people did die and that was horrible, and especially if you had somebody who died, that's horrible. But in general, like how bad was it? I mean, it was bad, but it was. Could we? I actually kind of need. Maybe we should go back to a little bit of like a week. Can we stay home for a week, right now, and just do nothing? We'll take it, right? But at that time, it wasn't. I forgot to. I was gonna share this before, but I'll share this now too. When kind of like when you're talking to somebody during COVID, I'm really outgoing, and I've always been like this. Like hey, I do have down days for sure, but I'm always been like outgoing, and so I never really battled with depression too much. Not really, honestly, I'll be honest, except during COVID. When COVID happened, the first week I was like, yay, no, yeah, whatever, I guess. By the second week, when we were like, wait, hold on a second, like nothing's opening. And then the third week is like, no, you're staying in here. Like, we don't know when things are opening up. Like, church is not opening up, school is not opening up, like nothing is opening. And I'm like, oh, wait, hold on a second, And I started to go into a spiral of like, and I had a schedule. I would wake up and but it was just like, what are we doing here? Like, what is this happen? Is this the rest of my life? Like, what's gonna happen? And I went like of a good month and a half, 2 months where I just, it was horrible. Like in my mind, I just couldn't get out of it. Of like, this is the worst ever. And I was depressed. Like it was like just horrible. I couldn't get out of it. I couldn't like think. I couldn't like, everything was bad like to me, And then I finally, one day I was like, you know what? And I know it's horrible to say, but I was like, I can't live like this. If I'm gonna die, I'm not gonna die just like this in the hole. I'm not gonna do this. So I was like, I'm not saying that COVID doesn't exist, but I'm just gonna keep going in with my life. So I just kept doing stuff and going out. I traveled everywhere. I went to Machu Picchu. I went to California. I went everywhere. And during COVID, everything was cheap. Everything was like closed, and it was like amazing. But in that like month and a half, like I felt like the world was like over. Like for me, like it was just like horrible. I'm glad that I went through that because now I kind of understand like a little window of other people of like, you can't tell somebody, don't be depressed. Like that doesn't work like that, you know? You can't tell somebody like that because it just, whatever the issue is, it's just like it's like a spiral that you can't control. So I do see that now, and I'm like, wow, you know, I'm actually happy that I kind of went through that time of like, it was real tough for me in that time. And then, you know, thank God that everything's kind of back to normal, I guess. All right, here's another part. I kind of said this, rhythms and schedules. Have rhythms and schedules for yourself and for kids. A schedule when to get up, when to go to sleep, when to eat. That actually is helpful. It's actually really helpful when dealing with mental issues. When there's a loved one that passes away, the best thing to do is to just keep rhythms and keep the schedules going. That's actually the best thing. Staying home and just like doing nothing is actually is counterproductive because the person again starts going to a spiral of bad things and worse things and worse things. So just keeping things that keep your schedule and keep your rhythms. Healthy habits like music, hobbies, eating right is important. The foods you eat affect you a lot. So eating correctly is important. Resilience is built over time. Kids don't know all of this. A lot of us have heard all of this. Kids probably have never heard it. So how are they going to know? They're just not going to know. So it's built over time. We have to tell them, hey, here's what you have to do. Build a gratitude list. Do all these little things. And again, teaching the next generation. That's why this seminar thing is that I meant is called Building the Next Generation. We have to tell them. They're not going to know unless somebody tells them. And even us, it's like a good reminder of all of these things. All right, so that's it. That's the end. But we're gonna pray. I always like to finish with prayer here. So we're gonna pray for peace. Like I said, always pray for peace. That's what I pray for. Wisdom, for sure, wisdom, and for strength for ourselves, but also for our kids. That's what we're gonna pray for. So God, thank you because you take us out of everything that you put us in. You take us out, God. Thank you because you give us peace, even as you did Peter. You took the storm away eventually, but at the meantime, we needed faith and he needed peace. God, thank you for giving us that. Thank you for giving us tools that we could make better our mental health and in turn help other people with these tools that we've learned, God. Thank you because you give us everything. You give us spiritual help. You give us a food help. You give us other people that help us out, that we can do that to other people and teach other people. We pray for peace and wisdom in all these situations. There's going to be a lot of other situations that we go through, God. Help us in all of these. In your name, Jesus, help our school. Help every single person that's not even here, that people who have gone to other conferences, that they can learn and bring back, and that when we come back on Monday, we come back with great energy. In your name, Jesus, thank you, God, for these things. Amen. Look at the Proverbs that we read in the beginning. It says, anxiety weighs on the heart, but a kind word cheers it up. Okay. All right, we'll finish there. Actually, let's do this. What is one thing that you've learned from your childhood that you wish kids would know now? It's good to be bored. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's good to be still, kind of.
It's good not to look at a tablet in the car, because I literally took joy as a kid, staring out the window.
Staring out the window. Yeah.
It was like one of my favorite things to do. And now it's like, you're like staring into the tablet.
Yeah. Yeah, there's little things. I always see that. I used to ride my bike everywhere, and now I don't let my daughters do it, and I'm like, you know, I'm sad about that, honestly, you know, because I had fun doing it, but it's like, do I say yes? I can't, but then they're missing out, you know, and I feel kind of sad about that they don't do that enough. But I don't know. They do other stuff that is good, I guess. They do good stuff. I have this saying that it says sometimes we work for our kids so hard to give them what we didn't have that we forget to give them the things that we did have.
You know, we don't sometimes let them do things like that.
Yeah.
Go outside how we used
Yeah.
to. But then it said that sometimes these days the danger is more online
Wow.
than outside.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
And I was like,
Wow, that's true.
Not there by yourself.
yeah.
That's true. I'm so scared to send them outside, though, to be honest.
Me too. I mean, we had to,
Yeah,
Why
yeah.
not make them, but you know,
Yeah.
it's different boys.
You're right. Most of the dangers are online. I think it's true.
My girl's just learned to ride a bike in the last 5 years.
Yeah, I heard none of them knew how to ride a bike. I know. I heard. Does Aubrey still know? And Aubrey still doesn't know.
Aubrey knows
Oh,
how.
she knows now? I know.